everybody, Sue here with another, I'll call it a vlog because it's more my ramblings than really a sit-down video. I'm going to talk to you today about momentum into the first quarter of next year. We're just finishing up Q4 here. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. You know, so going into the first quarter, it's not really any different than the rest of the year. I shipped twice the week before Christmas and a really big shipment on the 24th. Christmas Eve, yes, UPS was still running, although I had to bring my boxes. They didn't do a pickup unless it was air freight or something else and you called it in the week before. But I just brought my boxes over to the customer service center. I do like to drop off there. I'm not very far from a customer service center, and if I bring it to like Staples, which I do that when I'm out of town and there's not a customer service center close by, you know, they don't pick it up till the next day usually or later that day. If I really want to get it out fast, I'll drive about 20 miles to that customer center because it goes from my customer center to that customer center in another part of Atlanta and then ships out from there. But I only really do that when I'm, you know, really wanting to get something out fast. If you stay on a consistent, you're sending in each week, it doesn't matter as much unless it's some hot item that you want to try and get in really quick. It doesn't really matter how long it takes because, you know, you're just sending in on a consistent basis, and so you've continually got product coming in. I did ship more during the Q4. I probably shipped 3 times a week if I could, but it was also, I like to have a minimum of $1,000 profit that I'm shipping in. But over Q4, sometimes it was $2,000 and $3,000 in profit at a time. You know, I do most of this myself, so when I can get bigger quantities, I do. I was buying from like a wholesale club some during Q4, which was fantastic because I could buy large amounts and no stickers. I hate stickers, but a lot of times it's a bigger ROI on something that I buy a sticker with. I do have somebody that comes and helps me on Mondays, and she takes off pretty much all my stickers unless I'm traveling and out of town. And when I do that, I remove a lot of stickers myself and I get really sick of it. I hope someday to not be removing stickers, but we'll see when it comes to that. Anyway, like I said, to go into first quarter of next year, just be continually shipping in. So if you're going to take off the 2 weeks between Christmas and New Year's, obviously you're not going to have as much stuff in stock, so your sales are going to be down. And then everybody says, you know, what do you sell in January? I mean, literally, the last 2 years, I've pretty much sold toys 12 months of the year. And I mean 80 to 85% of what I sell is toys. I did get it down at some point, year to date, I want to say like September, October, I was down to maybe between 75 and 80% toys because I really do want to try and add more categories. But I'm so used to that category and it's so easy for me to find product that Q4 it tends to go back up. You know, Valentine's Day is coming up, Easter's coming up, so you can be watching for that stuff. Obviously, everybody always talks about resolutions in January, so at this point you're a little late for New Year's Eve hats and stuff like that. But everybody's dieting, quitting smoking, organizing, exercising, all those kind of books and anything that goes along with those categories would be things to be selling in January. But probably by the 21st everybody's given up, so I don't know how long I would send all that particular things in that really go along with resolutions. Obviously people are dieting all year, people are organizing all year, but it seems like that is a real picked up in January. So I'm right now looking for things that I've been selling all through Q4 that had a good rank all through Q4 might slow down a little. I might not buy 100 of something. I might buy 24 of something. But that's kind of what I'm watching for. And then, you know, the same items that I've been buying might be going on sale now. I don't necessarily, like yesterday, I actually was exhausted. That was the 26th. Not so much that we had a big day on Christmas. I did have people over and I did cook for people. Nothing really fancy. We didn't have a big number of family here like we normally do. My sister and family had come up on Saturday and we kind of celebrated together that day. So it was just my parents and my family on Christmas Day. So it was kind of laid back, but I don't know if I overcarbed or it just all of Q4 caught up with me. But on the 26th, I just was exhausted and I just sat in the chair most of the day thinking I really should get out there and shop. And finally about 4 o'clock I did, and I did okay. But I have more of a plan today. And, you know, if you miss the 50% off, there's still the 60% off, 70% off, 90% off. And some things that aren't great at 50% off are pretty good at 90% off. And if it's really small, like, I can't find them this year, but last year I had those magnetic wreath holders. And they sell for maybe $3.95 regular price. But I think I got them for 75 cents. And I did send some in right away in December and January. They were a little bit of a pain because I had to remove the sticker, and then they're such a strong magnet, they stuck together so hard that I would cut out 2 pieces of cardboard and then put them in a poly bag so that they wouldn't just cling together so hard. So I just kind of ended up leaving them aside in a box, but it was just a small box. And I mean, I probably had 40 of them, so, you know, 20, 30 bucks into it. And I finally, maybe in October, November, was like, I gotta send these in. So I just sat there watching TV one night, prepping them all. And I sold them for $12.95 a piece. Now, I went back to the store yesterday that I got them at, and I didn't see them earlier in Q4, but it's not a store that I really shop at. So I will still look around for those, but I did not get a big batch of them for next year because that store didn't carry them this year. But again, I'll be looking around, you know, for 50% off, 75% off. Maybe I'll run into them somewhere. But this year I'll try to just send them in during the year because even the green ones sold. You know, I wouldn't send in 40 at a time, but shoot, I made $6, $7, $8 a piece on that dumb little thing. And that's another thing, you know, people say, oh, there's nothing I can sell. I'm new, I'm restricted in everything. I'm pretty sure anybody can sell a magnet. Look for boring stuff. Don't look for the hot toys. And I don't really, I sell a lot of toys, and I would say very few, maybe I sold 10 items over Q4 that were really like hot toys. It's too tricky a business to be in, and there's 3 million toys on Amazon or something like that. There are other toys besides hot toys. You know, just look for classic stuff. Or honestly, there are times when I think, oh, I don't even want to scan that because that would never sell. And often that's the stupid thing that sells. So you really just got to try things out, and you know, don't be a whiner and sit there and go, but I'm gated in Monopoly and I'm gated in Hasbro. I mean, there's actually quite a few things I'm gated in Hasbro. And at one time I could sell Star Wars, and now I'm pretty much gated in Star Wars. But there's so much else to sell that I just look for other things. So, you know, again, just momentum going into first quarter. Just keep buying. I may not buy a 300,000 or 500,000 ranked toy right now, which I would do more likely in, you know, October, November, December. So I may go down a little bit on my rank, but rank isn't everything either. Like Scott always says, it's just a picture in time. So something could be a 50,000 rank today and check it 2 days later and it's 500,000. Usually it's not that dramatic, but you can use things like Keepa and just look and see. One of the things I like to look at on Keepa, which I don't hear people mention very often, is at the bottom right-hand corner, it'll say, you know, usually when you open it up, it's giving you a picture for a 3-month mark, I will click that and do, I don't remember what it's called, all time or all or something like that. And it will actually show you how many days it's been listed on Amazon. So I'm more likely to buy something with a little higher rank and a really higher ROI that's been on Amazon for a year, 2 years. If it's something that, oh, this looks really good and it's a really low rank, but then I look it up and it's been up for sale on Amazon for 13 days, I know that it's more likely than not going to drop in price. So these are just things you can learn over time, you know, as you buy things and send them in. You know, just buy a few at a time. If you're unsure of something, obviously I'd be a little more concerned if it cost $100 than, you know, a $5 and $10 item. Just try a couple if you just can't figure it out, and it'll give you a picture over time of what category sells well for you, or, you know, what you've learned the most. When you start to feel comfortable about, oh, I know these sell even though it's a little bit higher rank, but I can make a lot of money on it, but it might take me a month or two to sell. You'll just start to learn those things over time as you send things in. So, you know, you can jump right in and spend all your money right away, which I don't recommend, or you can just be practicing. I mean, I just built my business slowly and steadily, and it's still growing. But that's how I was comfortable doing it. So another thing about this business is you can do it 10 different ways, 100 different ways. You can all do well, you can all do poorly. So, you know, do it the way you're comfortable with. And, you know, I always I've talked about before, learning a store, learning a particular store, learning when their sales are, learning when stock comes in, learning how to read the tags. I like to know a store really completely, and then any city that I'm in, I can run in the store and kind of know how things work. The other thing I wanted to talk about today is just how I source. So I think I say this every time. I'm getting a little bit later start than I meant to, but I really took some time to look things up on Brickseek. If it says it's available on Brickseek and it's more of a clearancey item, you know, by the time you get there, that might be gone. So what I also do is I go on my Walmart app, and then I change the zip codes in there. It's not as easy as just pulling things up like on Brickseek. It won't show you all the stores. You have to pick a store. So the first thing, usually when I open my app, it'll come up with the online price. You have to click on at my store. And if you're not at a store, if you're at the store, then it will, if you have your locator on, it will open up in the store you're in. But if you're sitting at home and you want to check, is this item really there? Brickseek says it's there. Is this really there? If you check Walmart, you know, it could sell between the time that you look it up on Walmart app and the time that you get there. But it's more likely going to be there. So I change the zip code, choose the store that I want to go to, click on change. You click on change, you put in the zip code, and it should give you a list of stores, and then I click on the store and make this my store. And if it gives you a location and says that it's in stock in that store, but the key to it is the location. If it tells you where it's located in the store, it's more likely going to be there unless someone goes and grabs it before you get there. So what I did this morning was sit down. First of all, I totally changed my plans from yesterday. Last night I had gone to a couple stores, and there's more items of the same that I want to get. And I had gone into the store before Christmas of this particular warehouse club. I really bought everything at my local one. Pretty much every single thing. I did actually end up getting about 14 items yesterday. I don't know if they found these old toys in the back stock room or something, but I've been scanning them and I noticed some different ones. They were PJ Masks, but they were really different. They had one of this one, and I scanned it, and it was really good, but I checked Keepa, and it's actually really old. And so they had a style, like, of the pink girl, and then they had about 10 of that one, and then they had one of a different style. So I ended up getting about 10 of those, but I took my time and I checked and I looked them up on Keepa. I got a little bit burned last year because they were a really good rank, and then I sent them in, and then Amazon jumped on them, which is another thing you can kind of tell from Keepa. You can tell if Amazon's on it right now. There's always a chance they can jump on it, but it's less likely that they're going to jump in on a really old toy. Never a guarantee that they are, and it's something that could always be remade by the company and shipped out over again. But you know, nothing's 100% when you're selling on Amazon. You can just do your best due diligence that you can do. So I bought some of that, and then my plan was to go across town. It's about an hour on the other side of Atlanta, because I had gone there on Saturday before Christmas, and they still had quite a bit of some of the items I've been buying all along. I didn't want to just jump in and buy all the rest, because I thought they might go on sale after Christmas, because they often do. I'm going to grab some water here. So I went to my store that's close by last night. Sorry for the crinkling while I get some water. I went to my store last night, and they did have some of the toys on sale. So my plan today was to shoot right over to that store on the other side of town and grab the rest of the stuff that I want to get. But I happened across something that was on sale, and I've sold these all along, and they went down another $5. So I took my time and looked them up on Brickseek last night. It did show a couple stores really close to me had some, but when I looked on the Walmart app, they weren't there, and they weren't showing the location. They weren't even showing that they were available in that store. So I'm going to skip those two stores that are close by me. If I have time and the truck's not too full, on my way home I may just pop in and see if they have them and or what else they might have. So my plan is to hit these Walmarts. Of course, then I watched The Bearded Picker yesterday and Rise and Grind, and it was like, ooh, I want to check with Scott and see if he left any GameStops in my town. You know, it's funny that I've bought at GameStop a lot, but I tend to, when I'm finding something at a certain store, like I was doing really well over Christmas with this warehouse club here in Atlanta, and I was spending a lot of time there, and you know, jumping into a couple other stores, and I didn't really check out GameStop that much. I've bought a lot there during their clearance periods, and I went in a couple days before Christmas to buy my husband's Christmas present, and I saw that their clearance was 50% off, and I actually did buy some stuff from that one store. So I'm pretty sure this one's close to me, and if anything, Scott does my side of town, so I think he might have missed a few things. Anyway, so number one, it looks like rain today, so I packed my car, I got my boxes opened up, ready to go. I can pile a lot more in if I take my time when I'm finished at a store and stack things in the boxes than I can just piling up in bags, because obviously when the bags get deeper and deeper, you don't want to crush your stuff on the bottom. So I have my box is set up, but I also have a lot of plastic bags and trash bags because it looks like rain today, which is really a pain in the butt to source in the rain. But it has rained so much here in Atlanta this winter that if I didn't source in the rain, I wouldn't have sold very much this year. So, yep, I got my trash bags, and I'll stuff some in my fanny pack. And, you know, when I finish shopping at Walmart, I'll go between the double doors and I double bag things or put things in trash bags, bring them out to the car and stack them up like that. Okay, so I prepped a lot this morning. I got my materials that I need. I packed some snacky stuff, some waters, my hat, and then I have my plan started. So I was going to hit the first Walmart, which is 50 minutes from my house. And then I thought, well, you know, if I go this direction, I could stop at this bookstore, and I've got some stuff there last night, so I'm going to see if they have any clearance. So That's what happens to me. I make a really good plan and then I add and subtract to it all day long. But my main things I'm going to stick with, and I'm going to end up on that other side of town at the Warehouse Club and get the rest of that stuff there before I come home tonight. So be flexible. I always say be flexible. I mean, it might be better to make a plan and stick to it, but I'm going to stick to most of my plan. So that's the two things that I'm going to talk about today was, momentum. Just keep shipping, regular shipping, ship on a regular basis, and just build up that inventory. I mean, the very first year that I did this, I started in about July, but I really went bigger in Q4, and I pretty much didn't take any of that money out. I just kept turning it over and over into inventory. Now this year I did change. It's my third year, but my second full year is 2018. I worked with a CPA and changed over to oh my gosh, I can't think of the word I want. I changed over to an S-Corp, so I had to pay myself a salary this year, which was good because at a certain point you don't want to just continually put everything back into inventory because you want to make you feel like you are getting paid for all that work that you do. So, but that is how I built my inventory, by putting most of the money back into inventory. I also put money into poly bags, Dymo, things that make my job easier. Well, obviously the poly bags you have to have, but things that make my job easier, like the Dymo and a laser printer and some nice tape guns, those kind of things. Which, just another tip, I think I talked about it in the last video, is this is a good time of year. You've made a lot of money at Q4. Spend some of that money. I paid my liability insurance for all of next year. It renews in October, so I paid that through next year. Buy Mile IQ right now for the next year. Gonna really stock up on poly bags. Probably have enough to get me through maybe June. That way it lowers my taxes a little bit. So this is a good time of year to kind of stock up on those things. So I'm at my first store right now, so I won't repeat one more time all the things that I just said. But hope everybody gets going for Q1. Hope everybody had a good Q4. Have any questions, you can always leave them in the comments. Like and subscribe, and let me know what you'd like me to talk about, what you'd like me to ramble about, and what you'd like to know about and learn about. I'm hoping in January to get back in the saddle again with Angie and have some of our kind of hangout videos and talk to some other resellers and just see how other people do their business. Anyway, we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Went into my first store, and I only made about 30 bucks in there. I got 2 items, which will sell really fast though. But here's something that I did while I was in there. I was looking at some items, actually one of them Christmas, and one of the items on my list to look for at this store right now is a Christmas item. It was originally $9.95, so it's 50%. I got one 50% off yesterday, $5, and it's going for $26 on Amazon. I doubt that I'll find a lot of them, and I'm not gonna go. I did try to stand in line last night and have them look it up and see if they had any more, but there's several in this same product line, and she couldn't figure out if they had this exact one because all 4 of the other styles are all selling at retail or less right now. So obviously this one, probably it came 24 to a pack, and maybe there was only 2 of this one. So I'm not avoiding Christmas right now, but I'm gonna be really picky about what I buy for Christmas. But here's the thing, something that I was looking at was actually these advent calendars. And obviously I'm not gonna buy any that have candy in them. But last year I bought some in January at the Toys R Us and my husband thought I was crazy, but they were still ranked 13,000. And I think what it was the Sum Sum Advent calendar, and I think people just wanted it for the 30 little toys. Or maybe they were saving it till next year, I don't know. But I bought some later in the year, some Trolls Advent calendars, like in June or something, for 50 cents at Walmart, and I sold them in June. So, again, it's something you're going to have to look at the rank. It's something I wouldn't send in maybe 60 at a time. But I was looking at these nativity calendars, and they are still a good rank. And I actually remember them from last year, so I think it's one of those that's kind of back every year. It's from a certain museum. It's like the High Museum of Art or one of those. And I wouldn't buy it at 50% off. It's pretty much break even, but I'm keeping it on my list because I'll go back to that store maybe the end of January or maybe a couple weeks from now, and it might be 90% off. And even if I don't buy them to sell right now, and probably I would just send in one or two, even if the rank went way up, but it's something really flat, really small. It could just sit on a shelf and wait till next October. So that's other things that I'm kind of keeping in the back of my mind. Now, I have plenty of capital. If I was tight on capital, that's not something that I would even think about because I want to turn my money over and over. But if it's something I could make $10 on, and it's just a small item sitting on a shelf and I only spent $1 or $2 on, and I have to wait till October, again, I would probably send in one or two, even if it was a crappy rank, during the year, because Christmas stuff seems to sell all year for me. I literally sold my last true Christmas decorative home item December 26th for full price. I had 2 items, like rugs and table runners, that kind of thing. I had 2 left before Christmas, and I sold one on Christmas Day and one the day after Christmas. If I hadn't sold them, I would have watched and maybe dropped the price down a little bit if I had a bunch. But those just happened to... I had been trying to find more of those particular items and couldn't find them anymore. So, I'm not only spending a little time, I probably spent about 15 minutes in the store, because I did also look through their regular price toys, which made me think of another thing I wanted to let you know about. Since Toys R Us went out of business this year, other stores who really had only had a very small toy department or no toys sold toys this year. And I would be looking at those places. It might be a hardware store, might be... I haven't really looked into Kohl's that many times. They have terrible prices on toys, but sometimes their clearance is good. Maybe they had more toys this year, I don't know. Walmart definitely had a ton more toys this year. And I was in them right up till December 24th, and they still had quite a bit of stuff left. I'm headed to one right now, so I'll see how they did, how much they cleared out. Because they will definitely need that space again for non-toy items. So I'm quite sure they'll sell out of a lot. You gotta be careful at the big chain stores, because especially Targets, if Targets have them on clearance and all the Targets across the country have them on clearance, the price is likely gonna tank. So again, that's something that if you have a lot of capital and you don't mind holding on to some stuff, you could probably do okay with that, but I'd just be more careful with that kind of thing. So look at places that didn't really used to carry toys and see what they're selling. See if they've got clearance now. And then, make a plan. If you see something that, is borderline at 50%, make a note of it and go back and see if it'll go off to 75% and 90% off. And then reevaluate. See what your capital is at that point. See if it's something, if it didn't sell right away, like if it only sold 2 a month throughout the year, could you handle that? Or if it's not something, if you need quick turnover, just don't even go back, don't make a list, just ignore that stuff. But those are just some different ways to think about looking at clearance after Christmas. Okay, headed off to Walmart. If I find anything really interesting, I will let you know. otherwise, we will talk to you next time. Bye-bye. I spent probably 2.5 hours in that store. I should have clocked it. I often do, but really I was headed for a few items and just thought I would be kind of in and out, and then on to the next one. Finish up on this side of town and then drive that hour over to the other side of town to the warehouse store that I wanted to go to. But now it's number one, raining. Number two, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which sometimes Atlanta can already get started backing up, especially in the rain. It seems to be an odd week. Some people have the whole week off. It was really busy in Walmart, and I had to stand in line twice because I came out with the first overflowing cart. Filled up the cart. It was not raining then, so that was a help. Went back and got 2 more really overflowing carts. And I had to stand there and bag everything. I had brought bags with me, but I didn't have enough. And so I asked one of the guys who does the carts, hey, have you got a trash bag I can borrow? And he gave me a roll of them. There's probably, I don't know, 8 left on there. He's like, here, have as many as you want. So I wrapped everything up, and actually by the time I finished wrapping up, it was just kind of sprinkling. But it, you know, I don't want to get anything wet, even in the slightest. So then I crawled in the back of the truck and started filling up boxes and stuff. So, on to the next one, and I literally got at least $2,000 worth of profit in there, and really good. I don't think, maybe just a small handful of stuff was over 100,000. A lot of stuff was under 50,000. Yeah, anyway, on to the next store, and then we'll see how late I stay out tonight, because that warehouse store is only open till 9, and it's a good hour and a half from where I'm going to be. We'll see how, I mean, it might be just best to go that way with traffic. I just don't know yet. We'll see. Talk to you later. Bye.